Script format. Having a proper format inside of a script is very important. Why is that? Because I'm gonna bring back the same analogy. You create a script, it's a very long script, and a few months pass by, and now you need to modify the script or troubleshoot something in the script. You have written sorry, you have written down the script, but it's all over the place. The variables is up, your comments are nowhere to be found, the description is nowhere, the commands are left and right, there's no indentation, nothing. So there should be a proper format that should be followed so that someone can come in and take a look at your script and says, wow, that's a great job. Whoever did that, so easy to read and so easy to understand. And what are those format? One is first and foremost is define shell. This is something that you have to define. You could say it as a part of format or mandatory. You have to do that. You have to define a shell. When you create a first script, you have to let your operating system know, run that script as bash script. If you're doing a corn shell, you'll have to specify pound hash slash bin slash corn shell. Anyway, when we write our first script, we'll cover that as well. Then comments. Right after defining the shell, you have to put the comments. And those comments always starts with pound sign. And the reason I am telling you that you should include comments is because comments should tell what your script does. When your script was written, who it was written by, was it there any modification, anything that you wanted to include that a user or someone else reading your script can understand what this script is about, please add that to your comments. Then define variables. Variables, what those variables are, we'll cover that. Not to worry about it, but just to let you know quickly, the variables is just like an alias. If you have a long command or if you have a bunch of emails, what people do is they give it a letter equals the whole big command that becomes their variable. So define your variable at the top after comments. Then you run the commands. Whatever the commands that you want your script to execute, you need to specify those commands. Or if you do not have commands, or if you have any statement scripts, that's where you put your statement scripts. Those statement scripts are if, then, while, for loop, or so on. Now, when you have statements defined, you should start if the line where you're going to put an if, hit tab, because this way it will show that your if statement is starting from this point on. There is nothing that the script will translate your tab into something else. You could use spaces, you could use tabs, anything that you want, but try to make your script formatted in a way that if someone or even you read it after a year, 2 years, you'll say, ah, this is what I did. It's so easy to read. So let me log into my Linux machine again, and I'll tell you exactly how you should format your script. Okay, this is my Linux machine. I'm already in my directory. Perfect. I created a script earlier or a file earlier called Apache script. I'm going to take that same script and I will format it the way I have just discussed it. So to do that, I have to now do a VI on that script. And I am sure you guys know how to use a VI. Some of you are familiar with Vim, which is probably an enhanced version of VI. I like to use a VI. It's kind of old school, but the good thing is that it's available in pretty much all the Unix or Linux flavors. So I could never learn something new and not utilize it on an older version, because I use VI in many systems like Solaris, AIX systems, and sometimes Vim is not available. So VI is something that you will find anywhere, whichever is the system you log in. So anyway, I'm going to use VI to edit this file, which will eventually become a script. So you hit enter. Now the first thing, as I said, you have to define the variable, which has been bash. So if you look at the back, you'll see the first thing is defining your shell. I want to run this script as bash script. Perfect. Now, the next thing, I said to add a comment. Okay, always add a comment. I usually add a comment is like purpose testing script format date. Put any date. Let's say August 2020. Modification. If you have done any modification to the script, put down the date of that modification. So 02 08. So last modification, of course, since you're creating it the first time, I'll put 20 again. Okay, then anything that you wanted to add, please go ahead do so. So if I just put in blah blah blah, whatever, it's just a comment. It has no effect on your script. Okay, perfect. I understand, Imran, but how come the first line that you have is /bin/bash has a comment in front of it? Isn't it will be considered as a comment as well? Awesome question. Trust me, I had the same question. But let me tell you this. It's just how it is. Sometimes, it is how it is. So the Linux will understand this as actually a shell script. And it always starts with pound and hash. Why? I honestly don't know. If you really want to know why, you could ask someone else who really know inside out when they came up with the writing scripts, or you could, I'm sure, go online and find out why you have to define with hash. But anyway, put that in the back of your head. You have to remember this no matter what. Okay, so moving on. Then you define, next thing is variable. Variable is something like every time I want to echo something, I just want to say a and then echo. So let's say in my case, I wanted to have single quote Imran Afzal. And you know what? I will say my name is Imran Afzal. This is how you define your variable. And then you could just do echo $a. Then it is going, when you say echo $a, by the way, this is just a scripting language I already started teaching you, but that's okay. You need to understand the format. So variable I have defined here that every time this command will run, it is going to call upon this variable. So why didn't I put that whole thing here? I can, of course. But what if you are working in an environment that requires a huge line and does huge things? Then it's better that you put those variables in there. Then, of course, then you put command. Let's say you want to run a date, you want to run a command df-h, or so on. Then the last one I included as statements. If you are including statements in your script, please do not start from if, let's say, $a equal let's say file or whatever. Do not start like that. Always put tab like this. So if something is equal to that file, enter, and then tab again. Then echo this, else echo that, and then phi to close the statement. You see how it is? That entire if statement came to be on the right hand side. So you know that this is the statements that I want to run, and they are indented to the right side. What are those statement scripts? I never seen that. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna cover that in my next lessons. The purpose of this lesson is just that you know that why would I follow this format on the following lessons. That's why I wanted to cover that right now so you would know. This is the best way to put your scripts together, and it would be so easier to remember when you come back to it.